Greetings, citizens. Justiguy has arrived and returned. 9 hour, 9 person, and 9 doors. And you know what, guys? I think it was probably 0. I don't remember what I think. Okay.
Well, what about you, Junpei? What do you think this thing for?
Okay. I'm with it now. Why?
Well,
Isn't that obvious? He's the... Wait. Didn't we see this already? He's the guy who set this whole thing up.
I don't think the others from me, I didn't do it. I mean, only things I know once place.
Probably 0.
Yeah, exactly, then why you put them in after taking myself? It doesn't make sense. Why do all that work?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Oh, what happened? Who put the stuff back in the red?
Junpei forward his brows, so in other words, one of us is the person who fixed the red. Santa grinned.
Ho, ho, ho. We have a winner.
If that's true, then the person who did it doesn't want the rest of us to know that they fixed it.
Yeah.
Why?
What is maybe if they come clean on that, it would mean we'd find out something else. Something bad.
Something bad?
I know, but whatever it is, it's gotta be worth hiding. Of course. It could have something to do with Snake's disappearance.
You think maybe they did something to Snake?
Yeah.
Junpei stared at Santa. There was something about him that made Junpei wary. At first, he'd assumed the other man wasn't terribly clever, but Junpei was beginning to think he would need to re-evaluate that assessment. When Santa spoke again, his voice was quiet.
Look, if you trust anybody in this game, you're gonna lose. I only trust Rudolph. You've gotta be careful. The person you trust the most could turn out to be the one who stabs you in the back. Hint, wink, wink.
With that depressing suggestion, he turned and quietly walked away. And that's that, I guess. Junpei and June looked at one another and smiled awkwardly. Where would they go next? God damn it, the first class cabin! Why don't we go check out the first class cabin? Alright, let's go. They quickened their pace and headed for Bedeck. Is that fucking safe? No one's here. Maybe we'll have more luck somewhere else, but where? What? Let's head back to the large hospital room. That's probably the best idea. Together they ran down the stairs. Is this for real? I don't think anyone is here. What next? Casino. Let's go take a look. Alright, hold on. I'm just gonna... No one's here. Back to the hospital room. It's gonna say no one is here. Son of a... Ugh, the rooms. Gonna say no one is here again. Whoops, did... God. Okay. Back to the hallway. So we can say we have tried every possible option. Unless the trick is that we shouldn't be trying all the hot options because we're wasting time and someone's dying while we're doing this, because I have fallen right into the game's trap. I might be giving it too much credit because, like, so far it's either being really, really obvious about some things, but then again, this is kind of an old game. Like, so I might need to, like, put my mindset in that space, you know? They looked everywhere they could think of, but Snake was nowhere to be found. Snake hasn't been anywhere we've searched. Lotus looked around at 6 frustrated faces, and spoke. We can't keep looking for him. Wherever he is, it is not here. We need to get moving. Junpei couldn't disagree with what she was saying. Snake seemed to have completely disappeared. There was no point to wasting any more time. The others seemed to be having similar thoughts, but they stayed silent. Finally, 7 spoke. We don't got a choice. Lotus is right. We not gonna find Snake. There's a problem though. We gotta figure out who's gonna go through which door. Yes. Now I have a proposal. She walked back and forth across the floor, her heels clicking against the wood. Finally. Why don't we decide on one? What?
Sacrifice?
Well, perhaps that's a bit of a harsh word, but yes! You've all figured it out by now, haven't you? We can't all make it through those doors. If we split into 2 teams of 4 and 3 people respectively, and 3 people will be left behind. What? If we split into 2 teams of 5 and 2, respectively, and 2 people will be left behind. But if we split into 2 groups of 3 and leave 1 person behind, then only 1 person will be left behind. And behind 3 people. What? Okay, whoa. No, Junpei wasn't quite sure that was true. This does not seem right. Wait a minute. Which one? 2 people get left behind if we split into 5 and 2. And 1 person is left behind if we split into 3, 3, and 1. I got that part. You can't go through the numbered doors with any less than 3 people. But if we split into 4 and 3, then why do 3 people have to be left behind? Just run the numbers. Let's say we go through door 7 with 1, 4, 5, 6. Who's left over? That would be 3, 7, 8. What's the digital root for that? 18, 9. Exactly, but door 9 isn't here, right? That means 3, 7, 8 won't be going anywhere. That was just an example, of course. There are a lot of different combinations, but the result will always be the same. It doesn't matter which 4 it is, the 3 that are left over can't go through any of the doors. Go ahead and calculate it. If you have the time, you'll see. Anyway, that's how it is. Now, if we can get back to my proposal, we only have to sacrifice 1 person if we split into 3, 3, and 1. And 7 spoke. His voice was strained. Then, he's saying we gotta decide who's gonna stay behind? Yes, we do. Given our circumstances, it's logically and morally the best solution. If the other 6 are to survive, then 1 person has to sacrifice themselves. No, that's too cruel. What's so cruel about it? To just sacrifice someone like that? Then what's your plan? Maybe we should sacrifice 2 people instead of 1. That's not what I meant. I shouldn't sacrifice anyone. I told you that's impossible. Wake me up inside. Wake me up inside. Ooh, calm down, you. Okay. This is just a pet peeve, but it is legitimately infuriating. It just feels wrong how all. And maybe it's on purpose here. You do not put the number that should be TWO for that. Like, it does not look right, you know, like in written form. Like, unless this is specifically on purpose. I hate that. It just kills immersion. Anyway, Santa stepped between the ladies. Look what Lotus.
Oh, what Lotus is trying to say is, you should aim to bring the greatest amount of happiness to the greatest amount of people, right?
Exactly. That's how democracy works. For that reason, I think I might. The only fair way to decide who will be sacrificed is through a vote. What do you think? Oh, that's terrible. I'm not asking you. Shut up. What about you, Santa?
Well, I agree, I guess.
Alright, that's 1 vote for. Counting mine, that's 2. 7. I can't say I agree with you, but we don't exactly have a choice. If we don't do something, we're all gonna die. Glad to see you get it. If I can get 1 more vote, then it's decided. What about you, Clover? Whoops, damn it. God damn it. Clover had moved away from the group and was sitting on one of the beds. Her whole body drooped. Junpei didn't know if she'd even heard Lotus's proposal. Hey, Clover. Lotus walked over to Clover and gently laid a hand on her shoulder. Your brother has to be behind one of the numbered doors. We searched everywhere, but we didn't find him. Does that mean he has to have gone through one of them somehow? Dots? Clover slowly lifted her face. Let's look for him. Together. Okay. If we sacrifice one person, then we can go look for him. You agree with me? Alright, we gotta change her voice. She doesn't deserve the singer voice, which is really bad actually. So she should deserve it. But I can't give it a good voice when this music going. You agree with me, right? Yeah. Clover nodded once. The motion carried. Lotus spun around and walked toward Junpei. Now, let's start a vote. That will be necessary. Ace had barely spoken for Lotus's entire speech, and everyone jumped a little. 6 pairs of eyes turned to look at him. He didn't seem to notice or even care. I will stay. I should solve our problem, yes? Ace, what are you saying? No, you can't do that. That won't solve anything. June's voice shook, and she looked around desperately for someone to agree with her. Ace simply looked at her. June, I'm afraid you may have misunderstood me. I said I would stay, but I never said I would sacrifice myself. Huh? I trust you, each and every one of you. I believe you'll come back for me. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Is optimistic and then there's just nuts. Get a load of this guy. His doors only go one way. You go in, you don't come out. If we go through them, you won't be able to return, correct? Yeah. True. But that will not be the case once you've escaped from the ship. What? Please, I beg you. Once you've escaped, come back and rescue me. Ideally within the time limit Zero has given us. No, that's ridiculous. There's no way we could get back in time. Finally, Junpei could hold his tongue no longer. We've only got 5 hours left. We don't even know where the hell we are. How on earth are we supposed to find? Are we going to find someone to come rescue? Then, perhaps you would prefer to stay instead of me? Or perhaps you would be willing to leave June behind? Ace's voice was dignified and without a hint of cruelty or malice. Junpei had no rebuttal. You see, there's no other choice. Then I see we've come to our conclusion. Go on, don't worry yourselves about me. Go, quickly! Junpei stood frozen by indecision, unable to move. June bit her lips so hard that Junpei feared she would break the skin. Santa stood against a wall, calm and aloof. Seven tore his beanie from his head and turned it over anxiously in his hands. Pulling it over, stared at Ace with an expression Junpei was unable to decipher. Lotus's attitude, however, was different from the others. You know what? Alright, you can have this. This has nothing to do with theories, but this will just make it easier for me. Good. Let's accept his kind offer then. She smiled, her eyes bright. Ace answered with a smile of his own. Good. I think this is best for me. Perhaps I'll be able to take a nap. Maybe my age, but I get tired so easily these days. As he spoke, Ace lowered himself down to the floor next to one of the beds. Is that it? From somewhere deep in the ship, Junpei suddenly heard the screeching of metal on metal. It was almost as if the ship were screaming. Would it really hold until their time limit was up? Already the deck was flooded. In the sudden silence, the only sound was the sad metal wail of the ship. Unsurprisingly, it was Lotus who spoke first. Well, what are you waiting for? We're wasting time. Why don't we hurry it up? As if a spell had been broken, the others all began to talk at once. You're right. We should get going, because it's all we can do right now. 7.
Honestly, I was getting kind of sick of you guys listening to you guys talk.
You too, Santa? I have to find my brother. Wait, all of you, let's just calm down and think about this. There has to be a way to get everyone out. There has to be. Right, Jumpy? Say something. Yeah, let's think. There's gotta be another way. His words sounded hollow and faint. Fine, forget about it. I'll figure it out on my own. She spun around and ran toward Ace. He had slumped down next to the bed when June grabbed his arm and pulled. Ace! Come on, Ace, please stand up. You can't give up yet. We just have to sit down together and think about this. We'll figure out a way that we can all get out of here. Then it happened. Ugh. Ace fell forward. What? He slumped over onto the wooden floor, his body folded in half like a boxer. What? Ace! June cried out and dropped to her knees beside it. What the fuck? Put her arm around his neck and did her best to lift him up. And Ace? Say something! He shook him frantically. His eyes fluttered. Oh, okay. Open. I'm all right. His voice was weak and slightly slurred. How are you? All right. Yes. He held at his left arm and slowly opened his hand. A syringe? And it was a syringe in a small vial. The vial was empty. What the fuck? It had only recently been emptied. A few drops clung to the sides. was a label taped to the side of the container. It read Soparil Beta. Soparil Beta? Soparil Beta? What does this do? Did you use this? Yes, it's just aesthetic. I'll be fine. Aesthetic? I found it earlier while we were searching the hospital rooms. Thought it might be useful. Later. I didn't think. Using it on myself. Why did you do this? Didn't I tell you? Like, take a nap. Really am. Very tired. Junpei knew that wasn't why he'd done it. Ace had injected himself with anesthetic to forestall Junpei and Jun's attempts to bring him along. If he couldn't move, there was nothing they could do. He'd injected himself so they would be forced to leave him behind. Ace! Is there something you want to say? I'd just like to sleep a little. Would you keep it down? No, don't, Ace. Don't fall asleep. You feel warm. So comfortable. Have a nice dream. Ace's eyelids drooped further and further, almost as though he were dying. Ace! Ace! She shook his shoulder again and again. But this time he didn't respond. Only the gentle rising and falling of his chest told them he was alive. Junpei was relieved to see he was, in fact, still breathing. Let's get him up on a bed. And hopefully that's where he'll remain until we rescue him. At least he's not dead, right? Right? I'll find out. Because until next time, citizens, I'm afraid this is, goddamn, it's gonna have to be a farewell. Yeah, farewell.